Subscribe. MTL World at World 1 YouTube channel. Swallowed Star 2. Origin Continent. Volume 8. The Battle of Yulan City. Chapter 328 split into 4 directions. 23rd of Volume 8. Translator. Shadow Knight AK. Editor. Shadow Knight AK. Di Qing, Di Fu, and Di Ming suddenly felt a terrifying aura erupting from the inside of cave residence. In an instant, a figure shot into the sky. They recognized it at a glance. It was Luo Feng. Luo Feng stood high above the cave, surveying the battlefield. In a flash, his form split, multiplying into 23 identical clones. Each Luo Feng turned his gaze in a different direction, scanning the battlefield. Di Qing, all of you stay inside the cave. Do not come out. Luo Feng ordered before his 23 clones scattered, flying off in all 4 directions. What? Why is brother Luo Feng creating so many clones? Di Fu was bewildered. The more clones one creates, the weaker each individual clone became. Because splitting one's consciousness across multiple bodies drains energy reserves, significantly reducing combat effectiveness. Even with Luo Feng's strength, comparable to the 3 palace masters, this strategy seemed meaningless in the face of the overwhelming army attacking the city. Di Ming, however, chuckled bitterly. Perhaps brother Luo Feng would rather fight to the death than sit here waiting for it. If I had the power, I'd want to fight too, but even the weakest of these lower-level Xuanhuan lifeforms can crush me. I don't even have the qualifications to die while fighting. Di Ming had already resigned himself to his fate. No, this isn't like brother Luo Feng at all. Di Fu frowned as he watched the 23 clones disappear into the distance. I've watched brother Luo Feng grow stronger over the years. If he makes a move, it's never without a plan. Di Qing fell into deep thought. At that moment, Luo Feng's clones stationed at the Dan Tower and those patrolling outside began multiplying once more. Each clone split into 11 more. 34 clones scattered across Yulan City's core region, positioning themselves at key locations. These 34 clones will hold the core regions. Luo Feng had already formulated his strategy. Among the clones, the strongest one carried 500 times energy reserves of the perfect divine body and wielded both the immortal heart and the palm realm. The remaining clones each held only 100-fold energy reserve. This was the entirety of Luo Feng's remaining energy. The core regions of Yulan City was home to the grand residences of the elders. Even now, the elders continued maintaining the city's formations, desperately trying to hold back the onslaught of lower-level Xuanhuan lifeforms. It's over. The enemy army is charging straight for the core district. The moment they saw the 4 ultra-limit level entities leading over 2,000 perfection God Emperor level beings and tens of thousands of late-stage God Emperor Xuanhuan lifeforms toward the core district, the elders felt an overwhelming sense of dread. They had only managed to hold off the enemy so far thanks to the city's defenses. Without the city's advantage, the gap in power was insurmountable. And this was just a hasty offensive. If the enemy had prepared properly, their numbers would have doubled. Under the attacks from both inside and outside the city, Yulan City would have fallen in mere moments, without even a chance to resist. We estimated that there were only 200 to 300 perfection God Emperors and a few thousand late-stage God Emperors among the Xuanhuan lifeforms near Yulan City. But now, there are thousands more. An elder gasped in horror. Yulan City had originally been defended by 3 palace masters and over 700 late-stage God Emperors. Even with the city's defensive formations, they had barely managed to hold their ground against a few hundred perfection God Emperors Xuanhuan lifeforms and thousands of late-stage God Emperor Xuanhuan lifeforms. Now, the enemy had sent over 2,000 perfection God Emperors and tens of thousands of late-stage God Emperors, along with 5 terrifying ultra-limit level entities. How could they possibly hold? Ha 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 ha. We've won. Victory is ours. The 5 elite squads of the invading force erupted into frenzied cheers. They had been nervous about launching a rushed attack, but despite suffering some casualties including 2 squad leaders they had ultimately survived. The city had fallen. The army had breached its defenses. Now, they could feast upon the millions of practitioners within. Kill the elders, and the entire city will be ours to devour. The squad leaders roared, their bloodlust surging. Suddenly, among the many Luo Feng clones dispersing through the city, one of them made a beeline toward an enemy squad leader. Boom. In an instant, the clone erupted into an overwhelming sea of blood, swallowing an entire squad whole. Luo Feng again. The city has already fallen, yet he still dares to resist. Kill him first. The 6 squad leaders roared in fury. Their towering forms shifted into their true God Emperor perfection bodies, unleashing devastating power in an attempt to tear apart the Blood Sea. However, they soon realized the Blood Sea was endless. Even struggling to move was an immense effort. Seal. Within the surging blood sea, Luo Feng activated a formation with a single thought. The formation, powered by his late-stage Tao of Life and Death, locked down all 6 squad leaders. Within its confines, they could barely move, reduced to crawling at a snail's pace. Die. Luo Feng poured the formation's power into focused extermination, targeting one squad leader at a time. Screech. Screech. The targeted Perfection God Emperor lifeform, a heart-bewitching worm, screeched in agony. Under the relentless erosion of the formation's power, its once indomitable body was rapidly disintegrating, its vitality fading away. Its powerful regenerative abilities had been completely suppressed. The more it was eroded, the less of it remained. The formation's forces dug deeper, tearing into its core of existence. The heart-bewitching worm was in disbelief. It had never imagined that its near-immortal resilience could be so utterly neutralized. And the erosion was accelerating. Its death was imminent. Help! Help me! It shrieked in terror. Lord! Save me! Save me! At that moment, deep within the core region, a colossal figure, the ultra-limit level entity Palace Master Wei Yong, turned its gaze toward the scene. Palace Master Wei Yong's this body or clone is being controlled by ultra-limit level heart-bewitching worm. Its eyes locked onto the floating sea of blood, within which an entire squad of leaders was being mercilessly suppressed. One of them was crying out in desperation. Impossible. Ultra-limit level Wei Yong. Palace Master's eyes widened in disbelief. The city has fallen. How could there still be a force strong enough to threaten an entire squad of squad leaders? Save me! Save me! A desperate, piercing cry echoed within the minds of the leaders, reverberating even in the thoughts of the great king. And then silence. A Perfection God Emperor level heart-bewitching worm had perished just like that. Above the boundless sea of blood, Luo Feng's figure emerged. His brows furrowed slightly as he looked down at the lifeless corpse. Its life core had already shattered. My Tao of Life and Death has reached the late-stage God Emperor late, yet dealing with this squad of leaders is still proving troublesome. It was only after making his move that Luo Feng realized the terrifying vitality these leader-level beings possessed. This clone lacks a powerful divine weapon, has limited energy reserves, and my secret techniques aren't at their strongest either. Luo Feng understood this all too well. With only 100-fold energy reserve, every move he executed carried the profound mysteries of the Tao of Life and Death, at the late-stage God Emperor realm. Any ordinary divine weapon sold externally paled in comparison to his casual attacks. They were already meaningless to him. Only treasures like the Immortal Heart and Palm Realm, which transcended the limits of the universe, were of any true value to him. However, such artifacts were extremely rare, and finding ones that suited him was even more difficult. As Luo Feng pondered this, his blood sea formation continued its onslaught, and another leader-level being was slain. With each fallen leaders, the resistance of the remaining ones weakened. Their deaths came even faster. King! King! Desperation filled the cries of the remaining leaders. Under the suppression of the blood sea formation, they were utterly immobilized. One after another, they perished at an increasingly rapid pace. In mere moments, all 6 leaders had fallen. In just over 10 breaths' time, an entire squad was wiped out. Luo Feng's gaze shifted to the distance. Watch out for Luo Feng, the God Emperor. He annihilated a commander squad. The remaining 4 leader squads were now gripped by sheer panic. Though Luo Feng's clones were spread across the core area, one of them was already closing in on another leader squad. Run! Run now! Or faster, shake him off. The squad transformed into ethereal shadows, fleeing with all their might. Suddenly. Whoosh! Luo Feng's flight tore through the very fabric of space, leaving a rift in his wake. The scene left the fleeing leaders utterly stunned. A black-robed, black-haired Luo Feng walked calmly through the spatial rift. With a single step, an immense blood sea descended, completely engulfing the squad. How is he faster than us? He just traversed space in an instant. But the suppression of the 9 rivers holy realm is absolute. How can he still tear through space? The leaders were filled with despair as the blood sea enveloped them, rendering any escape impossible. A smile appeared on Luo Feng's lips. At last, I've created a movement technique centered around the Tao of Life and Death at the late-stage God Emperor realm. He had broken through too hastily and hadn't yet developed a full array of techniques utilizing his Tao of Life and Death. Any technique crafted at this level would be extraordinary. However, creating them still required time. Currently, Luo Feng had split into 34 clones, each stationed throughout the core region. Thanks to consuming the 100 Calamities Heart Essence, his thought processing and comprehension speed had tripled. Managing these clones placed little strain on his mind. His primary focus was on 2 tasks. First, using the City Lord's seal to reconstruct the defensive formations within Yulan City's core formation. His previous formations were too weak, he now needed to imbue them with the profound mysteries of the Tao of life and death to withstand the oppressive forces of the Nine Rivers Holy Realm. Only by integrating his formations with the city itself could he ensure that, even under the realm's suppression, his formations would envelop the entire city and pose a true threat to the invading army of low-level Xuanhuan lifeforms. Second, he was perfecting his secret techniques. Creating simple techniques for movement and combat was relatively easy for Luo Feng. The real challenge lay in developing techniques centered around the Star Tower's blood scales, and modeled after the immortal heart, and his undying blood sea body. Perfecting this would take significant time. There was also the bionic eye of destruction, which would be a long and arduous process. For now, Luo Feng focused on creating simpler techniques. However, what he considered simple was beyond comprehension for most practitioners. In the outer region area, at an inconspicuous dwelling, Palace Master Yuanxiang had been monitoring the battle within the city. He was completely stunned, especially by Luo Feng's flight technique. He actually tore through space in the Nine Rivers Holy Realm. Palace Master Yuanxiang's eyes gleamed. One clone alone was enough to annihilate a leader squad. Has he already mastered 2.5 layers of Xuanhuan Dao? Spatial traversal within the Nine Rivers Holy Realm was nearly impossible. The only exception was the use of rare spatial treasures capable of short-distance teleportation. Such artifacts are extremely rare. Just like Luo Feng at this moment, or Palace Master Yuanxiang at his peak, these powerful beings painstakingly refined such artifacts and treasures which is often used one time only. There's hope. There's hope. Palace Master Yuanxiang was ecstatic. Mastering 2.5 layers of Xuanhuan Dao. If he engraves his formation seal into Yulan City and integrates them with the city's defenses, we might stand a chance. We may suffer heavy casualties, but we can still save the city and its countless practitioners. What Palace Master Yuanxiang didn't know was that Luo Feng hadn't even merely grasped 2.5 layers of Xuanhuan Dao. He had fully comprehended the complete Dao of life and death at the late stage God Emperor realm. Mastering 2 Daos requires unparalleled synchronization and flawless execution to achieve a higher threshold. But a fully mastered Dao inherently surpasses such levels. From the moment Luo Feng had broken through, he had already surpassed Palace Master Yuanxiang in his peak. No matter how refined, no combination of Daos could match the power of a perfected Dao. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe. MTL World at Middle World 1 YouTube channel.